Legal issues arising from the use of security guards on ship. What are the implications of stationing armed guard on board vessel in response to piracy? There has been a significant and rapid rise in the levels of piracy activity over the past few years, as pirate groups have become better resourced, better equipped, and capable of attacking vessels further away from the coastline. The International Maritime Bureau Piracy Reporting Center has received report of 243 attacks on vessels, with 26 ships successfully hijacked between 1 January and 13 June 2011 alone. The perceived failure of the international community to adequately tackle the cause of the problem or reduce the level of piracy activity has led to repeated calls for flag states to permit armed guard to be stationed on vessels to protect ships and their crew from the threat of piracy. The level of the problem is so serious that the chairman of the International Chamber of Shipping has stated that many shipping companies have concluded that arming ships is a necessary alternative to avoiding the Indian Ocean completely, which would have a hugely damaging impact on the movement of world trade. Intense international pressure for reform and guidance has recently led the International Maritime Organization to publish a circular entitled Interim Guidance to Ship Owners, Ship Operators, and Ship Masters on the use of privately contracted armed security personnel on board ships in the high-risk area. While this guidance is a welcome and much needed reform, there are still a considerable number of questions left unanswered. Is the use of armed security guard effective? It is an often repeated fact that to date no ship has been successfully hijacked when armed guards have been stationed on board. In the view of an increasing number of ship owners, ship operators, and cargo interests, armed security personnel are the most effective measure to defend against the threat of pirate attack in high-risk areas. The logic underpinning their conclusion is simple: deterrence. It has been suggested that the presence of armed guard on board sends a clear signal to potential attackers that the vessel and crew are capable of taking strong defensive measures to protect themselves, significantly increasing the perceived risk of an assault on the vessel. In the circumstance, it has been argued that the pirate will instead opt to attack ships with weaker defenses, particularly in busy shipping areas. There also appear to be economic reasons to use armed security forces to guard cargo vessels. It has been suggested that due to the greater levels of safety and security, the presence of armed guard will allow a vessel to travel through areas perceived to be a greater risk of pirate attack. This avoids the costly and time-consuming diversion that a number of vessels have gone through in order to avoid high-risk areas, such as the Strait of Malacca and the Gulf of Aden, where there is a greater chance of being attacked. Secondly, ship owners and ship operators who station armed guard on their vessel may be able to obtain discount in insurance premium of up to 30%. The vulnerability of some vessels to piracy may potentially lead some insurers to suggest or recommend the use of armed guard for low-lying, slow vessels traveling through waters at high risk of pirate attack. Concerned about the use of armed guard, there is currently considerable international opposition to the use of armed guard. It has been repeatedly argued that the presence of armed guard risks an escalation in violence in the event that the vessel is attacked by pirates. In particular, there is a concern that the presence of armed guard will significantly increase the risk of a firefight between the pirate and the security personnel, with fears that this could lead to the death or injury of pirate, the crew, and innocent third parties attacked in error. Further, the use of firearms risks causing serious damage to the vessel, cargo, and other property, and in extreme circumstances could ultimately result in the sinking of the vessel. It has also been suggested that pirates are more likely to use more powerful and damaging weaponry against a vessel and its crew in order to overcome armed guards stationed on board. Further, it has been reported that some pirate groups are training to practice boarding that will be opposed by armed security personnel. The decision to use armed guard should therefore be made only after carefully considering the effect of their use following a risk assessment and after implementing all other protective measures that are appropriate following discussion with the master. Legal issues. There are a number of complex legal issues and commercial risks that parties should be aware of before making the decision to station armed guard on a vessel. It will be necessary to give careful consideration to each of the following issues. Under what circumstances can be armed guard use force against pirates? Currently, no international convention or regulation state what force and measures can be used lawfully to defend against a pirate attack. As a result, in international waters, the laws governing the use of force will be those of the flag state of the vessel, which must be complied with by the master, crew, and security personnel at all times. It is advisable, following the recently published IMO guidance, that the flag state is consulted at an early stage in the ship owner and ship operator's consideration of the decision to place armed guard of the vessel to ensure that any statutory requirements are met. On board the vessel, the security personnel must be bound by clear rules for the use of force (RUV), which should clearly set out the protocols and measures to be taken in the event of an attack by pirates. This should provide a detailed, graduated response plan to pirate attack as part of the security team's operational procedures with the aim of preventing boarding using the minimal force necessary to do so. In particular, the IMO guidance for the RUF states that firearms should not be used against persons except in self-defense or defense of others against the imminent threat of death or serious injury, or to prevent the perpetration of a particularly serious crime involving grave threat to life. Further, it will be necessary to ensure the RUF comply with the laws of the flag state of the vessel and, ideally, should be approved or endorsed by flag state. It is crucial that armed personnel comply with the RUF and the laws of the flag state when confronted with a pirate attack. Further, in territorial waters, it will also be necessary to comply with the laws of a coastal or port state. The danger of not doing so are obvious. In the event of unlawful death or injury, there is a risk that security personnel could be prosecuted for murder or serious injury by the flag state or any other state asserting legal jurisdiction for the crime.